Hi, have you heard about Bitcoin? Not Bitcoin, but Bipcoin. Bravo, India, Papa, Coin. Bipcoin is a new cryptocurrency that you can start mining today for free on ordinary computers. Unlike most altcoins, Bipcoin is not a clone of Bitcoin. Bipcoin is based on entirely new, more recent, and better code called CryptoNote. So unlike Bitcoin, Bipcoin has truly untraceable transactions, does not require specialized mining rigs, and has adaptive limits. Plus, Bipcoin is the only cryptocurrency covered by the BIPCOT no government license. This allows use and reuse by anyone except governments and government agents. If you're still kicking yourself in the head for not getting in on the ground floor of Bitcoin, start mining, using, and trading Bipcoin today.
Not a guarantee.
Mining Bipcoin costs you nothing but the electricity to run your computer. And we already take Bipcoin for stickers and buttons. Go to bipcoin.org. That's bipcoin.org. Once again, that's Bravo, India, Papa, coin.org.
Yeah. There's a reason why nuclear weapons have only been used offensively when only one country had them. It is unwinnable. All right. The whole purpose, if you believe that you got the rulers and then you got like the puppet masters pulling the string, whether it's the deep state, the New World Order, the politically connected, the freaking lizard people, whatever it is. If you turn the USSA and if you turn the USSA and Russia into Superman's dad's apartment and turn it into nothing but glass, all right, then what are these people going to rule? Because they want to rule. Rule number one is they want to continue to rule. They want to be in charge of stuff.
It is slavery. It's just a different name. A lot of people don't realize what it is. And when we bring these ideas to light and make people realize, that this government force is the problem.
And to me, it's like I say, imagine you're an abolitionist in the 19th century, and these slave masters are giving you the same exact argument. Who's going to pick the cotton?
Hey, Seeds of Liberty. Read the show's description, please. Fervently complete the course. Report him to the infantry. Finish him. Deconstruct the fallacy. Seasonal production means it seems to spawn a tragedy. Peep the action, please. A fraction of the allegory. Corollary cadences complaining on a sadder story. Menial. Recently reading into the thesis. Mirroring the people who completely fail to see it, though. Seeing is believing. Yes, the reason is appealing most.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Seeds of Liberty podcast. This is episode 82. As always, the Seeds of Liberty podcast is covered by a BIPCOT no government license. This allows reuse by anyone except governments and the agents thereof. You can find out more information about this at bipcot.org. So this week, we have our friend Lou Feen back in the... We're just going to call it the vacated chair now. I don't even want to give him props anymore, that loser. I'm just kidding. We miss you, Danilo. But in in the vacated Danilo chair, we have Lou back. Hey, Lou. How's it going? Long time no talk.
Hi there. Yeah, it's been like, not even 20 hours.
I know.
About
right?
18 hours.
Yeah, about 18 hours, something like that. And we just had you on a couple of weeks ago, too. But it's always good to have you back here. And, of course, Dave is here. Hi, Dave.
Hey guys, what's up, Lou? Thanks for coming on. Hopefully we can find some things to talk about other than bacon.
I always enjoy being had.
Well, that's good to know. I'll keep that in mind.
Tonight's food topic is popcorn.
Popcorn? Oh, that's what Lou's snacking on tonight, I suppose. Mm-hmm. Popcorn.
Yes, but it's not the microwave crap. It's not the thing in the pie tin that you put on the stovetop that has expanding tin foil on top of it. It's out of the jar. It's Orville Redenbacher, and I whipped it up in the like you would use for soup. It's a small stock pot.
Like a deep sauce pot or a stock pot.
Yeah, it's a stock pot. So what I do is I put in a couple squirts of the coconut oil. So I started using the coconut oil, but it's the unflavored, unscented processed stuff. So it's not as good as like the other stuff that kind of comes as a semi-solid, but once you put it on your hands and start rubbing it on your girlfriend, that's when it starts to melt. This stuff here,
coconut oil is confirmed the best lube ever.
Yeah, but anyway, this stuff here doesn't have any odor. It's not supposed to turn it into a solid or anything like that. So, but anyway, I use that. I bought it mostly for coating my cast iron pots and pans after I get done cleaning them between uses. So I also use it for the popcorn though, because I was using olive oil, but I decided I'd switch over to the coconut oil, and maybe I'll go get some of the really good stuff for the rub downs and everything. But anywho,
you got to use the good stuff on the rub downs, man.
Yeah. Now here's the cool part. I've got the Orville Redenbacher, as it says it's GMO free. I don't really worry too much about the GMO stuff. I haven't seen anybody with like arms growing out of their heads yet, so not overly worried. But it's got the Orville Redenbacher GMO free popcorn kernels, and I think it's the white. Yeah, it's the white corn, and threw in some real butter. So I melted some real butter off to the side and poured it on top, and then slathered it after slathering it with salt with butter, put on a whole bunch of salt. So it's like the old days before the movie theaters started sucking.
Lou, I don't know how you do it, but every time you come on here and you start talking about food, I mean, I just ate 20 minutes ago, and I'm getting hungry.
Same here.
I
ate an hour ago.
I think that's a sign that you're fat, Dave. I'm not sure.
I'm actually down 50 pounds, man.
I know. I'm busting your chops. I know you've been doing that. So good on you, man. But no, it happens, man. I actually just ate a couple, not even an hour or so ago. And if you start talking about food that you would normally like to snack on anyway, you get hungry, man.
I think butter was my trigger word.
Butter. See, I can't.
I'm triggered, Lou.
I can't skimp out on the coconut oil only because I use as far as using the good stuff versus not, because I use it for everything. So I'd feel I wouldn't not want to use the good stuff.
I was telling me and my girlfriend were talking, and I was like, every morning you could just wake up and just get dunked in a vat of coconut oil, and it would probably just be good for you. Like, I don't see how there would be ever any negatives for that.
Well, it is. It does seem to be good for your hair. I know it's good for your teeth. I actually do the, what do they call it?
It would absorb
oil pulling. They call it oil pulling. And
yeah, I do that a lot, twice a day.
So. Oh yeah, see, I do it like once a week because I have a friend who actually gave up brushing altogether, and that's all he does now, and he swears by it. I still feel like I have to brush every once in a while. I don't know, maybe
I brush
indoctrination.
I brush it for something. Like if I eat a lot of sugar.
Oh, if you get that, yeah, I don't know. So if I have a soda every once in a while, you get that gritty.
I'm telling you, man, your teeth. If your teeth feel weak, like at their base, if they just don't feel strong, start swishing with just a tablespoon of coconut oil for about 5 minutes every day, and after about 2 weeks, your teeth will feel so strong. And swallow it. Don't spit that stuff out. Swish and then swallow. You'll start feeling better. Everything will just start feeling better. It's really weird. Coconut oil is amazing.
It's better than cannabis oil, probably. It cures everything.
It does seem to cure a lot of things, although I don't know. I haven't tried smoking it yet. Maybe I should. I wonder what that'll do.
I wouldn't do that.
Well, the CBD oil does have that advantage. Smoking that does make me feel nice. Not high, but just I haven't actually come to think of it, I've only smoked the cannabis oil or whatever it's actually called, like the stuff with the THC in it at Porkfest, or I think somebody might have had some in Michigan. I'm not sure, but I don't ever have it on my own.
There was a guy that was rolling CBD dabs on Blab. I don't know why I remember that, but
CBD dabs? I had THC.
Yeah, he had rheumatoid arthritis, or he had some kind of weird arthritis, and he had to do it, or else not had to, but when he was when I just do this, I don't get high, and I don't feel any pain. So it's why wouldn't I do this? So
well, sure, but I've never heard of. I mean, not saying that it hasn't happened. I'm just hearing somebody doing the dab for him because my ex, she has rheumatoid arthritis, and I finally got her on CBD oil after I came back from when I went to Pennsylvania with my kids, because I was finally able to. I picked up some really high quality stuff, not like the cheaper crap that they actually sell here in the stores now that it's quote unquote legal, but they sell the very diluted stuff. And I was able to get some really strong stuff down there from a company that actually makes their stuff. And I gave it to her, and she's been smoking it nonstop. And as far as I know, she'd always been on some kind of opiates Plus, she was also on the fentanyl patch, which is what's fentanyl?
Wow,
Lou, you know stuff.
Yeah, fentanyl is.
Oh yeah, that's the crap that killed Michael Jackson.
Yeah, well, that she's worn one of those patches, which the only time I had ever seen anybody with those before is when I worked in the animal industry, and they were used for dogs and cats directly after surgery or leading into surgery when they were like in extreme pain. And this is something that she just wore regularly. Has to change it every couple of days or whatever, but always was wearing one of these patches. And so it sounds
like her tolerance was probably pretty high.
Well, yeah, it has to be because she's been dealing with this.
Don't try to party with her.
You will lose. It's funny. She still gets really high off just a little bit of cannabis, but everything. But you would think so because heck, she was diagnosed with this right after or right before the two of us met years ago. And but anyway, so since she's been on this,
has she tried Kratom?
No, but that's the next thing I want to get her to try. But the CBD seems to be helping a lot because, as far as I know, she's come off the patch again, and she's not really using the whatever opiates they had given her this time around. I think it was oxy.
Her not being on fentanyl is amazing. That right there is it's really a gamble every time you're on it.
Well, yeah.
Have her try the ginger dust.
The ginger dust, yeah, that's the new name for Kratom. But yeah, I want
spice.
I want to get some for myself because I've as you mentioned, Lisa, the last show.
What the hell? I've been seeing Kratom talked about. What the hell? Just give me the rundown here.
Well, I haven't tried it yet.
Give me the TLDR.
Lisa DeLasha, who I was just mentioning, who Lou mentioned, our fellow co-host on the Feens, she has been talking about. She just recently acquired some, I believe, from our friend Luis Fernando Mises, and she was raving about it. Although the description she gave for her first time around on it almost seemed to be like she was loaded up on speed. Because she was just like, I have all this energy and I just keep going and everything's getting done. And it's like, yeah, that sounds like you're just running around on speed, but okay. I hope there's no big crash. I haven't heard anything about it, but basically I've heard people using this for anything from pain relief to anxiety issues to what else were people using? Fatigue. Thank you. Yes, it's amazing.
Chronic fatigue, not just I didn't sleep well last night.
Oh yeah,
chronic fatigue.
Yes, yeah. So like it seems to have a myriad of uses. According to what I've read up on it, this is something that's been used by people for hundreds, if not thousands, of years, and it just kind of flew under the radar for the longest time until the government found out about it and announced that they wanted to try to outlaw it. And now all of a sudden it's taking off, and all these other people are hearing about it. But it's people like my ex, people like Lisa, because Lisa actually has a similar condition. She has psoriatic arthritis, I believe, which is actually almost the same thing. The only difference between the two is you get the psoriasis on top of everything else. And
most of that I've been reading about that because my mother has very, very bad psoriasis. Anybody that's got psoriasis or anything like that, or even arthritis, all that stuff really starts in the colon, believe it or not. And there's a thing called black seed oil. It's from cumin, but it's a certain cultivar of cumin that they press the oil out of the seeds. But people that take that religiously have all their psoriasis stuff goes away, because what it is the colon is inflamed, and that's why you have psoriasis. It's really wild.
What about the arthritis part?
Well, that's is another part of the colon being swollen, I believe. It's a misdiagnosis of Western medicine from what I've been hearing.
I don't know. I would have to look into that. I mean, it's been a little while, but I at least studied.
Well, my mother, anecdotal evidence, but my mother, she bought the black seed oil, and she's been taking it, and she, for the other day, she ran up to me, and she was like, for the first time in my entire life, my scalp is pink. So, I don't know.
Well, no, I'm not saying it isn't. I'm just saying I'd have to look into it because these type of things, I don't really study a lot of medical stuff. I've just never really cared. I've just always kind of run with the philosophy that if I can get up and stand, I'm going to keep moving and I'm just going to keep going and I'll be fine. But like when it came to
the
this
Snake Plissken way.
Yeah, but when it came to this type of stuff, I actually did, because when I first started dating my ex and I found out that she had this condition, and once we started dating, it was starting to get serious. It was like, okay, I had to sit back and think, is this something I'm really willing to deal with for possibly my life? Like, I'm going to, where I would have to probably take care of her at some point, because eventually she will, at least based on what the knowledge that her and, everybody else had at the time, is that eventually, just keeps debilitating you to the point where a lot of people end up with like the claw type hands later on and stuff like that, because it gets so severe that you could try to do surgery, and which is not always successful, or you just end up getting worse and worse and worse. So I had to take that into consideration. So I actually did do a lot of research on rheumatoid arthritis and stuff like that, and all the different treatments that had been used, the experimental type stuff they were talking about using then, which was now, I guess, 6-7 years ago. And it's funny because even back then, I tried to convince her to shift to cannabis, or I think was CBD oil might have just been coming out then. My timeline is all sorts of screwed up. I have no concept of time anymore. But anyway, I think CBD oil was either just coming out or hadn't really been a huge thing at that point. But I had tried to convince her to shift to then, and right away it was just like, well, that sounds great, but it's illegal. So there was, because she was such a good little status back then. But I was trying to push her towards it then, and I finally convinced her.
That gave me hiccups.
To try it now. Yeah, I know, right? So it's interesting though, because like I said, I have looked into it, but I'll look into this one too, and why not? I mean, I know her, and I know plenty of people like her.
Crack's illegal. That's the only reason why I haven't tried it. Duh. Crack.
Of course. Yeah.
That's the argument, right? Well, if crack was, if it was legal, then hell, everybody just go do it. It's like, no, I'm pretty sure not everyone would go do crack. I'm very sure of that.
Well, the legality isn't stopping me, but I still may try it at some. I don't know. I'm not saying no. But.
I would definitely say no to that, Jeremy. Just go ahead and repeat after me. Crack is whack.
Yeah, I don't.
Don't smoke crack unless you whack.
Well, I'm not opposed to trying things. Heroin, that's a different story. That one I always said I would stay away from. But I swore for the longest time I wouldn't smoke cigarettes, and then I wouldn't smoke, and then I wouldn't do cocaine, and then I wouldn't drink 151 after the first horrible experience. All these things I said I wouldn't do. You can never say never, man.
Because you set these arbitrary things on them, man.
Exactly. That's why I can't say crack is whack, and I won't. That's why I can't say crack is whack, and I won't do it. For that very reason, Dave. See, you just defeated your own argument.
Crack is whack, though.
It probably is. So I guess we can go with that. Anyway, my point was that it's just interesting that this is the thing that I wanted her on, and now she's finally doing it. And like I said, I know plenty of people like her, like when you talk about this black seed oil, that are at their wits' end, and whether they're frustrated with the government in some form stopping them from getting things, or their doctor just hasn't been able to help them. I know plenty of people that are willing to try just about anything. Because
that's what happened with my mother.
Yeah, so that's great.
She's like, I've literally thrown the kitchen sink in it. She's been on all of them. Every one of the name brand psoriasis medicines have never helped her. And she starts taking this, and it's like, she's like, I don't know what to do. Like, I feel better, everything. And it's kind of amazing.
Well, it's great, though. It's got to be a relief for her. Like I said, I've dealt with my ex for a long time, and other people in my life that have had different conditions but similar situations where it's just like it's so frustrating after not being able to help yourself for the longest time, and then finally having something. I try not to get too involved in the vaccine arguments and medical arguments in general versus when the extreme homeopaths and the extreme medical side where it's all that stuff is crackpot stuff, like those when those extremes get together. I try to avoid all that stuff because it doesn't.
Yeah, you got to take from all, in my opinion.
Yeah, because it doesn't. Not everything works for everybody. The reason there are these insane side effect warnings on pretty much every pharmaceutical drug out there, even the ones that aren't just probably going to kill you, is because at some point What's that?
Because of me.
Because of you? Why because of you?
Yeah, I have bad reactions to a lot of medications.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Exactly.
And if there's a side effect, I'm going to find it.
Yeah, well, see, there you go. You're the person I'm talking about. Then there are those people. There's always that 1, 2, 3, 5, 10, whatever it is, that actually do have these reactions. That's why these, just like the stupid warning signs on most products that most people like us would look at and laugh, like who would actually do these things that you have to put a warning? Well, there's always that 1% of people out there that will do these things that don't know any better, So there is. So for those people, there has to be another way. And it bothers me because I've seen it with my daughter who is prone to seizures, and we've wanted to have her on CBD oil for years now and been fighting with her doctors about, even now that it's legalized, medical marijuana has been legalized, I think, for over a year now, or maybe I think they delayed it, so it's actually just coming up on its first year of full legalization. But her doctor still won't prescribe it. He still insists that he would rather give her he would rather exhaust all the pharmaceutical options first.
Of course, because he gets kickbacks from that.
I know.
Doctor.
Well, see, and it's I don't deal with him. Even before we split up, my ex was always the one who went there. I think I've been to like 1 or 2 appointments because she always schedules them during the day and the week when most people are working, so she's able to go and get in and out relatively quickly. But I can't be there. But I gave him the benefit of the doubt because after originally giving us pushback when we were hesitant to follow the vaccine schedule to a T, after that was one of the times I interacted with him, I had a conversation with him, and then my ex did as well, and it was just like, listen, we're not, I'm not going to try to like be I'm trying not to be a dick here, but if you're not going to answer certain questions, you're going to just keep telling me like I don't think you understand where I'm coming from, and we will just go somewhere else. And he ended up backing down and then talking to us and understanding why we were doing what we're doing. So he seemed a lot cooler about stuff like that. And in other aspects, he's worked with us. So this was actually kind of shocking to me. I kind of thought we had built up enough of a relationship with this guy over 4 years, or three years, I guess, because we found them when they were about 1. But 3 years now that he would not be, and younger guy too, and usually more open to ideas outside of the strict medical field or whatever, like willing to discuss other ideas.
That's the bona fide best treatment right now is CBD oil for these children with seizures, right?
Well, there's a lot of anecdotal evidence right now. Unfortunately, that's all it is. There are some amazing stories
because the government won't allow.
Well, no, these stories get out through channels that are
testing or whatever.
Yeah, because it's technically still banned federally. So,
I was discussing this with Lisa. Gosh, I can't remember if it was on the Feens or on another show, but there's a large number of studies regarding cannabis in the different variations. Probably about 20,000 of them, and she had said where the database was. It may have been when we were on Disassociation Nation a week or so ago, I think, or maybe it was it?
You guys did
a couple nights ago.
A couple of weeks ago, you guys did an episode where it was just the two of you, and you were talking about cannabis and Kratom pretty much the whole show. So that might have been it.
Okay, there was another time we were talking about though. It may have been on Disassociation Nation, but it may have been on that show too. But anyhow,
well, I'll link that. I'll link that one in the very least in the show notes.
Yeah. There's actually a large number of studies published. They're just not widely cited and used. Let's face it, those that make their living off of being welfare whores, being drug cops and DEA and stuff like that, they don't want to lose their jobs, and the economic central planners don't want to see a big giant influx of dishwashers and landscapers by cutting out those jobs of the cops and DEA agents. I mean, just throw the whole manual labor service industry out of whack. the unskilled manual labor service industry. And to top it off, a lot of them are fat bodies, and they probably die their first day of cutting grass.
That's quite possible. I've seen some of the cops around here. You stick one of them out on if his first day is like midsummer, I don't see him making it to the end of the day. I only did landscaping for a little while, and it's hard work, man.
It ain't fun work.
Even with the advancements in technology and the bigger lawn mowers and the riding mowers and all this stuff, like those guys, because I watch them too, because I'm a dog walker, so I go into different neighborhoods.
I call that robot work.
And I hang out in. I don't know, man, because I hang out in different neighborhoods for like half hour clips when I'm either walking around or hang out in the backyard or whatever we're doing with the dogs. And I see the landscapers like all over the neighborhoods as well as in my own. And it's like those guys, man, they hustle nonstop all day long because they're supposed to get as many of these spots in a day as they can.
Well, yeah, they're paid by the job, or they have a contract to do.
Oh, it's usually by at least
2 weeks or whatever. Yeah.
Well, the ones that are around here, at least the ones that I tried to use when I first moved in.
I don't knock those guys. Go up and ask one of them how much they make a year, dude. It'll blow your mind.
It depends. Some of the guys around here do pretty good for themselves. You go up on the North Shore of Long Island, there's money, and they got these gigantic lawns. So, hey, people are gonna pay. Might as well do it. It's just like I said. I know it's not easy work. So I don't know if it could really be robot jobs. I mean, some of it could be, I guess, technically. But,
well, I mean, I could see that being a job that mostly is done by robots sometime in the future. Is what I mean.
Well, like what you'd have to have a self-driving mower, I guess.
Well, yeah, you'll have self-driving mowers or programmable, robots that do certain tasks that you just, set up on a thing to, travel and bust it themselves around. And
see, that's interesting because who was talking? Well, it must have been some communist or zeitgeist or no, because somebody was screaming about the robots taking all the jobs in the future a couple of weeks ago, and it just. And then there was actually a serious conversation that I was listening to. So it must have been some podcast. I forget where it was. Might have been Tom Woods. But the whole idea about about robots taking all these jobs, and it's like, see, I don't know. I look at a lot of jobs out there and think, yeah, you're still going to need people for that, at least for quite a long time, until you have like maybe robots.
It all depends on
AI. Like I don't know, because like I look at my job, for instance. Could aspects of my job be done by a robot? Sure. But to do everything that I need to do during the day, everything I need to remember, if something goes wrong with each animal, what do I go? And like there's stuff that could be programmed, but there's other stuff that you have to like I'm not saying my job by any means is hard. I'm just saying there's just in my job alone, there's so many things that
there's
come
a lot
up
of know-how you got to have.
Yeah, that just things that you'd have to only having experienced it. Would you be able to the next time around go, oh, here's a problem. Oh, this was a solution I had last time. Let's see if this works now this time too.
That's when the government microchips all of our brains, to where it's just recording our eyeballs live. And, when they get their robots online, they'll have just enough information to know how every human solves every problem.
Just wait until all citizens are replaced by robots.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Our overlords look forward to their robot
serfs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they want, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they want a bunch of robots that will do exactly as they're told. Every once in a while, they'll march around waving the government's flag.
Yeah.
Maybe the occasional outrage will happen, and some robot will log itself into Facebook, turn on all caps, and just start bitching about the government.
Well, I mean
you better obey our Constitution, or else I'm gonna put on all caps and call you nasty names.
Well, that essentially was the idea of the Prussian school system, to churn out good, obedient,
turn out crabs,
serfs, or essentially robots that only robots with enough freedom to believe that they're completely free. And oh look, I can go to the movies when I want. I can drive my car when I want. I could do this stuff. So I can't possibly be being controlled in any way. I'm free.
I'm free. I got all the permits to show it.
Exactly. So
I don't know if we will still have a government by next episode, but
the government's not going anywhere.
Quit with the bullshit promises, Dave.
You don't think so?
I don't know, man. I don't get it. All the drama, all the fear-mongering. Well, actually, I shouldn't say don't get it. I do get it. It's just annoying me. I don't get it with certain people because
you don't fall for it.
This is kind of like Nexus level. This is the.
You keep saying that. This is not like the whole in 2000 the Gore Bush thing. Like people seem to forget. Like that was touted as like the good and evil thing. Like Obama McCain, the same thing. Like what? It doesn't matter. The dollar collapse is not happening around the election. They're going. I keep trying to tell you this. They're not ready to end this game. They will keep dragging it out. They can. They've proven they can do it.
You're assuming the central planning works then. That's what you're saying.
No. I'm not. No, what I'm saying is because they've been able to do it because they can keep extending this. It's not their run is not over without. It's not at collapse.
Then why didn't the housing bubble just get extended a little bit longer? Or how about the .com?
The bubbles themselves can't be extended past a certain point. Eventually they will pop. But this one they could keep doing because just like we were just talking, Jim and I were just talking about this the other day about the fact that Peter Schiff, he was really right about the collapse itself. But since then started talking about how QE was going to destroy things and stuff. Well, yeah, a lot of people seem to think that was going to happen, but it didn't because nobody actually was able to take out the loans, so the money never actually went into circulation. So they still have that. That money still gets to get dropped into circulation when they need to. So they already have something like that up their sleeves as it is. Like that's still hanging out there waiting. So I'm not saying it works. It works to the extent that they can continue to bleed the citizenry dry until the citizenry on a big enough scale realizes what's happening, or they reach the complete end of the line and everything just falls apart. Unfortunately, they have not reached the end of the line yet. It's getting closer, I will admit that, but I don't think I still don't think this election, this threat of the dollar collapsing imminently tomorrow, next week, whatever, I don't think this is the one yet.
Here's what I think. I think that the dollar collapse could happen today or right now. They could pull the trigger whenever they want. It's at their whim, but I think that is economic collateral they're trying to hold over everyone's head if Donald Trump gets in somehow. Or at least that's a narrative that I've been reading. That if Donald Trump gets elected, they're just going to collapse the dollar. Raise the interest rates.
I don't know that would necessarily collapse the dollar.
25%, done. That would collapse the dollar, yeah.
Would collapse the dollar or would just really stagnate the economy? But here's something else that you have to look at. If you go back to the stagflation from the Carter era, and Paul Volcker did a big super giant increase in the interest rates, and I'm not sure what was done with the money supply, but interest rates went sky high during the Reagan years. And it didn't collapse the economy. You certainly had a slowdown. The slowdown that you get out of it is a decrease in the frivolous spending, the nonsense bullshit stuff that wouldn't get paid for if it wasn't for the printing press. So raise the interest rates, and then that just means that there's going to be there's going to be a lot more discretion used when it comes to spending money. People aren't going to be spending money like drunken whores anymore. And quite frankly, all right, go ahead and raise it up. So when nobody's borrowing money because their time preference says, you know what, I don't want to spend this kind of money, it's not advantageous for 25%, let that money sit on the shelf until it spoils. Not that it really spoils like that, but you're just not going to get people borrowing on those types of interest rates for those types of things. It will kill the housing market. But the thing is, if you kill the housing market, then people can't sell. And you're going to see a major adjustment in prices to go along with it. So tell me how stealing underpants creates giant profits, Dave.
I just think that if they raise these rates, all of that foreign capital is going to come back to the country, and it'll just be such an inflation realization that it'll just be, too many dollars for too little. The inflation will be too high. People will have to either abandon the dollar or die.
I prefer to abandon the dollar myself.
Yeah. But I don't.
I'm not old enough to die just yet. Sometimes I feel like it in the morning, but.
Well, see, that's the thing, though, Dave, because like you said before, like they could pull the trigger and collapse it if they wanted to, but or eventually it will run its course because they'll run out of tricks and they'll run out. You can
eventually the curtain will be pulled on.
Eventually Zimbabwe. So
or they could.
But that's what they want. That's what they want.
Or they could keep doing what they're doing right now. And then you can say that they collapse it. People can keep voting.
Yeah. And
that will collapse it.
It will eventually. That's the thing. It will collapse it. But I think because they can but they're not. They're not going to jack the rates up like that because that's one of those moves that if just dealing with the current status paradigm and how things are supposed to work. Raising the rates even to what? Because they're still close to at zero or almost technically negative in some aspects, some ridiculous thing like that, right?
They're at 0.2.
Okay, whatever. Even if you jack it up to 5, it destroys a lot of markets. A lot of people will get messed up. But if there's no other interventions after that, well, then that's how the market would correct itself if it was allowed to. But they don't want that to happen.
What really happens is the stuff that doesn't have a locked-in rate, that shoots up, and those people are kind of screwed. But it all depends on how much they owe. Now, if you look at the government debt, I don't use that phrase of national debt. I call it the government debt. If there's a big interest hike there, then the government's screwed because they can't steal enough to pay for it. So, quite frankly, you're not going to see that happening.
Well, that's exactly. They can keep their goal is to keep pushing things as far as they can, so they keep winning, but they can't put themselves in a position where nobody's giving them anything because then they have nothing to take.
What they want is negative interest rates,
and that is why there will not be a nuclear war with Russia.
Yes, I think that's complete bull. It's funny you bring that up. I think that's complete bullshit as well.
It's idiotic. It's idiotic.
Yeah,
it's irrational fear mongering. That's all it is.
Well, yes, because
look
at history. Who's the only country who's ever dropped any bombs on anybody?
Yeah, there's a reason why nuclear weapons have only been used offensively when only one country had them. It is unwinnable. All right, the whole purpose. If you believe that you got the rulers and then you got the puppet masters pulling the string, whether it's the deep state, the new world order, the politically connected, the freaking lizard people, whatever it is. If you turn the USSA and if you turn the USSA and Russia into Superman's dad's apartment and turn it into nothing but glass, all right, then what are these people going to rule? Because they want to rule. Rule number one is they want to continue to rule. They want to be in charge of stuff. Rule number two is they want to be comfortable. And if there's nobody to rule, and if the only thing that they have to rule is a radioactive wasteland that they can't even go into, then there's no freaking point in it. They want to survive. They want to survive comfortably. What's that?
I've read that before. That nukes are a hoax.
I think you would have to ask the people of Japan if they're a hoax.
Well, supposedly,
technically, those weren't nukes; those were atomic bombs.
True.
Correct. There's a difference. There's a difference.
Yes, I stand corrected. But I don't know.
They're both in reference to the same thing, I believe.
No,
I didn't know there was a difference between an atomic bomb and a nuke.
There was an atom bomb, a hydrogen bomb, nuclear.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I don't know. The a hoax. I've never heard that one, but
it's kind of like one of those. It's kind of like one of those, Illuminati things. It's like there's some stuff that points to that being it, but there's never that concrete evidence. Like, oh yeah, okay, maybe nukes were a hoax that were made up by all the world governments to, stall war in the future.
Well, see, I don't. It's a stall war? Well, no, because I don't necessarily think that.
put it off, you know.
I don't know.
Okay, all right, so they're going to use an imaginary threat against each other, knowing that it's an imaginary threat, and that's going to keep them from going to war.
Isn't statism just an imaginary threat?
No, it's a very fucking real threat.
Yeah.
Well, individuals who believe in statism are a really big threat, but yeah.
The religion itself is dangerous. But I think about this. For them to say, okay, we're going to threaten I will play the role of America here. We're going to threaten those brewskis with nuclear bombs, but there are no nuclear bombs. So I may as well tell them that I'm going to release unicorns to go eat all their fruits and vegetables in the fields. Because
think about it. If both gangs got together and was like, "Hey, we've made up this thing called nukes. We're going to let you in on this meme. It's been used to control our population."
But that's
okay. Then if they both know that it's fake, what's going to stop them from going to war when they got a case of the ass at each other?
Yeah, that doesn't really make any sense,
Nothing.
Dave. Well, yeah. So if they really see, because that involves conspiracy on such a grand level.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody check your dresser drawers. Make sure that you still have your underpants. I think Dave's trying to retire.
I think I'm just gonna I'm gonna go Occam's razor on that one with you and just say no.
Okay. All right.
I'll go straight razor and cut him if he keeps talking that silly shit.
Well, I mean,
whoa, that escalated quickly. But look it up. See, Dave. Okay, you're getting kind of lazy. I must say lately with this. Your
all right, my bad.
Nonchalant attitude. Just
Next,
throwing
I have the
out.
Documents. Next week,
why should I look up your silly?
I can't even do the voice of
assertions.
Anyway, well, I don't. Oh, even. Yeah, so the hoax thing doesn't really play out, but I was going to say originally, even if we want to go with your theory for a little while, I don't think it matters because the result is that something would have been done by now if people hadn't, if all sides hadn't realized that, yes, as Lou was trying to describe before, there's nothing to gain from that. The only time I could ever really see any country using them against another one at this point is if it was a much smaller country that felt like it was their only option was to nuke the other people and just say, screw it, we're going to take as many people down as possible. Other than that, the powers like the USA, the USSR, the Russia, Germany, even whatever, all the the bigger players, well, Israel, because I guess Israel's got a heck of a lot of nukes as far as a tiny little country, but any of those places, they have a desire for power, but I don't think any of them have a desire for a wasteland because there's nothing to gain from that.
It's waving the gun that you can't fire is what it is.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. It really is
because they're not real. It's a hoax.
Oh, Dave's not real. Dave's a hoax. I bet.
Sometimes I wish that was true, Dave.
I bet that's a strap-on beard that he has.
Strap-on beard.
A strap-on beard. Next year, I'm going to come up to Michigan and put that beard in your face, and you're going to see if it's a strap-on or not.
No, you're not. You don't even leave the house. You don't even leave Bama.
You're right. Damn it, you're right.
Well, no, this isn't true. He did go to Florida to visit our friend Merrick. So
you went to the Florida Man Convention.
I guess can be confirmed. So unless Merrick's in on it too, and then I'd be very disappointed.
Yeah, I'm looking at a meme here, and it shows the police all dudded up in combat gear, looking like actual military guys, and it's in North Dakota. They're all geared up. They're all ready to go and like spray a crowd and kill a bunch of people. They've got all their armored vehicles and everything, and the caption is, "Geez, Iraq looks rough right now. Oh wait, that's North Dakota."
Yeah, I've seen that one. I don't actually know enough about that whole situation to even begin getting involved in it. I don't, because I haven't followed it enough. I've seen so much conflicting evidence on both sides that it's like, What's actually true? Like, I don't like. Are there now, I guess, federal agents among other people standing up there? And I saw multiple pictures. I guess they were people were standing in the water and were getting fired upon with those rubber bullets and stuff. You know, like, is all that stuff happening?
I know there's a lot of bullshit happening on people. But.
Well, like, I've seen a bunch of things recently that, a few people that I normally respect their opinion and their researching abilities have had stuff up saying that, like, you know, not for nothing, but this whole pipeline's not even going through this land that they're talking about. It's all the way over here, like, you know,
they're claiming that it's going to be the water that gets damaged and that the water goes onto their land and all that. But
that's a difference.
Anytime there's a protest in the world, I kind of ignore it unless it says there's an armed protest, because nothing really changes until you hear the word armed protest. Okay?
Yeah, there's a lot of contradictory information coming out of there. It's really not clear what all the facts are. So that's why I haven't taken any strong sides on this. I have no real strong opinions because, quite frankly, it's hard to tell what exactly is going on there. Who's in the right? Because you just have such a clusterfuck of information coming out of there, and whether it's misinformation or disinformation, I don't know.
Yeah, that's the problem. I don't know who. Because even a lot of the quote-unquote alternative media has either been infiltrated or has gotten trigger happy with their reporting and always trying to be the first to scoop and not actually doing their research very well. And there's just a lot of crap that gets put out every day that I see from all sides, and I don't even want to read the alternative sites anymore. So I don't know what goes on. I just take
it all in as like just a lens, you know, just like, oh, that might be real or not, you know, just something, information essentially.
Well, I try to, like, for instance, I mean, in this particular situation with the pipeline thing, like, you know, Derek Brose, I know, is up there, and he's been reporting from there live, and apparently got tased or something by the police. Actually, I'm pretty sure he definitely got tased. But here's, you know, somebody who's part of the larger anarchist community. You know, I've met Derek a couple of times. I like the guy. I don't agree with him on a lot of stuff because he's a lot more leftist, like left anarchist, I guess, than anything else. But he's usually pretty good about reporting these things, and he's going up there and saying things. And then other people I know that, again, I normally respect and their efforts and stuff, like, they're giving me other information. It's like, what the hell's the truth, man? Is this thing finally now a necessary enough distraction that the whole thing's cooked? The whole thing's a hoax to a certain extent. Like, it's getting played up on both sides for the reason to distract from the other crap that's going on with the election and all this information that keeps getting dropped about Hillary. Which, on that note, Dave, you already heard this, but I posed this question earlier to a couple of groups a couple of group chats we have, and because I just been thinking about it the past couple of days, because I normally try not to think about the election or politics or these idiots or what's going on, but it kind of struck me, like, if I'm going to put my tinfoil hat on for a second, of all the things that are going on,
do it, man.
And all this and all the, you know, the. Is Trump a plant for Hillary? You know, all the crazy stuff that's been thrown out there so far. I posited today, what if the reason that all this stuff is now coming out about Hillary, and although the FBI investigation supposedly he didn't actually say they were reopening it. Everybody's jumped on that and claimed that was the case, but apparently it doesn't say that in either of the letters he put out. But the whole reason all of this is getting brought up right now is because they realize that the popular support is so far on Trump's side that this is their way of making it seem like the system's actually going to work for once. And she knows that they're going to take her away, but she'll end up slinking off somehow, some way, out on a technicality. Something will happen where she'll just be allowed to retire comfortably with a crap load of money.
I told you about the rumor I heard. I said it on the Downfall that's coming out Friday, but that Russia was reporting that $1.8 billion was moved to the Qatar Central Bank from the Clinton Foundation. So,
well, I don't know. I don't know how that plays into this whole thing, but like I said, to me, I thought I was like, that's interesting.
Clinton could move to Qatar
because they could
sit on a $1.8 billion. That's how it ties in,
I guess. But I was just thinking, of everything else that I've seen from the history of this god awful government that has actually come out and been proven to be true. Like, I don't know, that one doesn't seem too far fetched to me. Like, how do you save yourself from this when it's so painfully obvious, despite all the media's attempt to hide the fact that nobody likes this woman? How else to sort of save face from this?
It's opened a lot of people's eyes.
But if all the other stuff that has been floated about her and Bill and all for years and decades and whatever, if all this stuff, the deaths and all the mysterious suicides, if all of these things actually are true, they've been really good and really protected enough that nothing's ever happened to them. Why now? Especially because
WikiLeaks is the only curveball in this. I don't know why.
But again,
I guess they pissed off the wrong person, or I guess they got hacked by the wrong person. I don't know. Hackers. That's the only reason. WikiLeaks and hackers.
Yeah, but they've stepped on so many people before, and there's been evidence before, and it's just been scare tactics that have stopped people.
I don't think it's been this blatant, like their words,
I don't know. Like I said, I think it's an interesting possibility that's...
It is very interesting. I think it's an angle to look at, yeah.
That's why they're coming out with this, because it's just like, oh, we'll let her get taken down, and that's how we'll... So we don't have to, like, completely, like, just let her win. And totally the whole country just go, what the fuck? Like, it was clearly, like, Trump will win, like, 70-30 in the actual, in the votes, and then the Electoral College will somehow come out and say Hillary won. Like, they can't do that. They can't do that shit. There's no way they can get away with that.
That's what they're going to do, and they're going to purposely collapse the government to create a civil war so the UN can swoop in and create the one world government. But, that's a conspiracy theory.
Well, so is what I'm speaking of. And one of the first people I mentioned this today actually said that. He's like, well, that sounds like a conspiracy theory. I'm like, well, of course it is. I'm positing a theory that it would involve a pretty big conspiracy. So, yeah, it's a conspiracy theory. But I think it's an interesting one that maybe deserves. I'll just put it out there. What do people think about that? Think it's possible? Because I think that would be more possible than the scenario you just described, Dave, of the one world government being ushered in right now. I don't pay too much attention to international affairs, but I have seen nothing to suggest that that's being set up for on a large enough scale that'd be able to happen.
Really, you haven't seen that? Like, the entire eurozone is about to collapse. Turkey's about to collapse. Syria's about to collapse. All these other governments are about to completely collapse. You haven't seen that?
Yeah, but again, they're on the verge. But how many of them actually ever do? Unfortunately, not nearly enough of them. History dictates.
Who knows, man?
Right. The argument for like a single world government is not conspiracy theory. It's the natural course of government. The failures of government are always explained away as government not having enough power or resources to solve the problems that it created. If you look at the complaints about how things were under the Articles of Confederation, the complaint from our founding fathers was that the central government was not strong enough to do all these things that they felt that needed to be done. So, quite frankly, because they were a bunch of, I hate to use the word big government because it's statist and subjective and kind of redundant, because government's always as big as it's capable of being. But
they were big C commies.
Yeah. The founding fathers, the Federalists, were big C communists. They were oligarchs. They wanted to be in charge, and they weren't able to loot appropriately to their standards under the Articles of Confederation. So they went and they created a much more powerful government that was able to feed itself better, because government always has a big giant appetite. Is the only question is how much is it able to feed itself? And by putting in the direct power of taxation, they were able to rob a lot more and enrich their oligarchical bankster buddies. Thanks, fondling fathers, you sea suckers.
Thanks, George Washington.
Yeah, thanks, Alexander Hamilton.
Yeah.
Madison, you stupid dupe. Adams, you control freak.
If you could whisper anything into Patrick Henry's ear right now, what would you do? What would you say, Lou?
Put this vest on, go to Philadelphia, pull the string. You'll be a hero to your...
You wanted liberty or death, Pat, right? Well, here you go.
Here's your chance.
Here you go, brother.
So, but the thing is,
here's a minigun.
Yeah, and if you look at suicide bomb.
Yeah,
and if you look at the Constitution and all the arguments used to justify it to this day, those are the same arguments that have been used to justify the United Nations or world government. So
exactly.
And there was an argument that was made that without the Constitution, the states would have destroyed each other through war. And there have been accounts where American states have gone to war against each other. As a matter of fact, Michigan went to war against Ohio, and Ohio lost because they got stuck with Toledo. But
well, now we have college football, so we don't have to do the wars.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you think that stopping war amongst nations is a good idea, well, it's got to be good for more than just 13 or 50. How about if it was for all the nations around the world? That way you could stop war completely. Or if you want to ensure that everybody had access to trade, okay, well, we're going to regulate trade all across the world. You know what? And to make sure that one government doesn't destroy their currency and create chaos for their people, we're going to have a single world government, and we're going to manage this.
And
because
the be controlled and ruled by a certain location.
Yeah.
Where?
Because the people that support government. The people that support government, they support control. They support central planning and central control of the means of production and everything else in existence. So the nature of government is to grow and to consume more until nothing else remains. So a single world government is not a conspiracy theory. It's the natural course of the state. It's the natural progression.
So Dave's conspiracy theory confirmed by Lou.
No.
Awesome.
No, because I would agree with what Lou is saying. I didn't mean that I didn't think that wasn't plausible. I thought it happening with this election being implausible, because that's what I was saying. I haven't seen any evidence around the world that they're setting up for that to happen right now. They don't have enough people in place to make that happen right now. Even if all of these governments were to collapse at the same time, I think that would actually be just as bad for them as it would for, us. It wouldn't be pretty.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that say, the world wars were orchestrated by the elite to take control over everything and just really centralize their power and all this other crap. And that argument really falls short when you look at many of the people that were the elites before the war were not the elites afterwards. As a matter of fact, they suffered pretty badly.
Yeah, well, on a large scale, that does kind of defeat that argument, unless because there has been a lot written, and I think it was actually in that paper I just read recently, the one by Michael Glennon, National Security and Double Government, about how the real people in power are often a lot more unassuming than the people that everybody else thinks are the real elite. To a certain extent, I think you're right, Lou, but I think, the other people out there with even more money, you have no idea who they are. Nobody would recognize their face for the most part. Those are the ones that are able to get away with so much of this stuff because people don't know about them. But a lot of the other I guess the second tier elite definitely got wiped out by the wars and stuff like that. It was only the people that really had a hand in setting it up. If you follow that storyline, which a lot of it does seem to ring true, all the way from the original. What was it? Ferdinand who got whacked. That's what supposedly sparked it all off. But there's even conflicting stories about that. I mean, didn't Prof. CJ do an episode about that recently?
He covered a lot about World War I in his
with the start of it. He talked about
it. But all right, let's say that we have these controlling people, and you do have the power elite out there. Let's say they're the New World Order or the Lizard people, whatever it is, or just they happen to be the power elite.
Yep.
If they are able to control such events, if they're able to manipulate events and force things to happen just by their will, one, what the fuck is voting for Trump over Hillary going to accomplish? Because if they want something, there's probably a foregone conclusion that they're going to get it.
The fate of the world depends on if you vote for Trump.
If Trump doesn't play ball, then he might have an undiagnosed heart condition, or he might meet with a crazy lone gunman. So now something else.
Is whacked.
If these guys are able to control all these things, well, maybe they should be in charge.
Just full-blown Darwinism, huh?
I mean, if they're that powerful, then what the hell are we bitching about? We need to get our knee pads and chapstick on and start talking about how we're going to secure a better spot for us because we can't fight them because they're so powerful that they just make shit happen by thinking it.
I will always think that there's always an opposite reaction to every action. I think we're on the good side of that.
Law of physics.
We're on the good side of that bad, action. On the other side of that. Wow. So we have to keep fighting, Lou.
Well, Nope, it's pointless. It's pointless because they're the New World Order, they're the lizard people, and they make stuff happen just by thinking it.
Well, they can only control what's in their scope,
Well, no,
everything's in their scope. Everything's in their scope. God damn it, would you start worshiping the great man like you're supposed to?
Yeah, see, I don't...
Fuck! Can't take him anywhere.
Worship another man?
Well...
Do it!
Do it, Dave.
I totally like to call people a cuck, because, I want to make America great again, but I'm not. I'm going to go ahead and vote because I'm not a cuck, right? Because cucks vote. I mean, I'm confused now.
I don't know what you're talking about.
That's the thing, man. These people that think Trump's going to fix all this, it's not going to happen, man. I think he'll win. I think he'll try to do some stuff, but it's not going to fix
That's been my argument this whole time. It doesn't matter. I don't think that the lizard people are as powerful as Lou is, making them out to be.
Unconfirmed.
But I think that they are powerful enough to an extent that it doesn't really matter that. Hillary is obviously the preferred choice, but even with all this stuff that's coming out, whether my slightly crazy theory is true or not, she's now tainted. So they may have to
tainted meat
accept the fact that they're not going to get her. But I really don't think it matters because in the end, the things that they really want to get done, they will make sure gets done because the president doesn't really have that much power anyway.
I've been saying it a few times on the other podcast, The Downfall. If he gets in and does not repeal or, executive order away the Federal Reserve Act in 1913, then he's a fake shill phony to me, in my opinion.
Are you talking about Trump?
Totally believe that he's a hardcore patriot, go, rah-rah. He's
Trump?
Brainwashed into the cult. Yeah, I could totally believe that. But
Trump's
if he doesn't
about the Fed
out, he's
not fetting proproperly.
Yeah, he doesn't want to close it. He's never once said that, has he? Well, that's why I don't understand what but that's why
he's mad that the Fed's not doing its job properly.
Yeah.
Well, I think if you openly come out against the Fed, there's no way you can win. They just kill you.
But he hasn't. But again, he hasn't come out against it. He's just come. He's unhappy with policy. He's not unhappy with the program.
You remember when they killed Ron Paul for coming out against it?
Yeah.
Fuck, man. He's died like 6 or 7 times. He never
him.
Well, he's a cat,
blackballed
so he's part cat. So I think he's 1/64th cat.
He's not Trump. He doesn't have $1 billion in his bankroll to buy TV ads everywhere, you know?
Yeah, $1 billion doesn't do anything against the lizard people. They've got trillions of dollars, and they can just change the currency and not buy his old dollars. They could just change the currencies for the rest of the world and buy everybody's money except for Trump's, and just leave them there.
Yeah.
Say you can keep your money. We own that too, because we are the new world order.
And on that point, we're out.
Well, that's what happens when we play some of your conspiracies out to the.
Hey, you came in here with the Hillary being a double, triple agent.
Mine was just
bullshit.
It wasn't a double, triple agent. It would. She doesn't have to be anything different than she actually is. Just has to accept the fact that people hate her that much, that the Trump win in the popular vote is inevitable. So how do you go about? You don't want to just.
Is it really?
I think in the popular vote. Well, I mean, I guess technically. Well, okay. In the what people would actually be voting for, I think is pretty much a given now that people hate Hillary that much. What actually shows up in the results is a completely different story, because that also you have to take into account all the dead people that vote, all the people that vote multiple times, and the other chicanery and shenanigans.
So our next show will be after the election. Let's make some bold claims. Who's going to win, Lou?
The American public is going to lose.
I would
miserably.
Going to lose.
The state's going to win.
Yep.
All right. My posit is going to be that there's no such thing as the American public, and that Trump will win. Go ahead, Jeremy.
Well, I've said this whole time it doesn't matter. I have also said that I thought it was a foregone conclusion that Hillary was going to get it. I think now, whether my crazy theory is anywhere close to true or not, I think at this point there's so much that can't be hidden that enough people will.
Not like this was scene.
this was and nothing's actually even been proven yet. This actually hasn't even been proven yet. There's just emails that some people have got around to reading parts of. And there's so much information that nobody's even gotten through yet and won't get through until after the election. So I really don't. I think if WikiLeaks, Julian Assange and those guys are completely on the up and up.
It's kind of blown my mind.
This was dumped as he planned right up to the very last moment like this. If that's what actually is going on right here, then and she's completely blindsided all this. I don't think there's any way that they can spin this that enough legitimate people would, like actual people who are voting, I don't think would actually vote for her. So I'm going to have to say now that I'll change, and I guess Trump's actually going to pull this one off.
Actually, I think that they would. And there's a meme out there that Hillary could eat a live baby on live television and won't lose any votes. And I really do believe that's true. I think that the fact that there's so much open contempt, disdain, and hatred for both candidates, I personally think that those that have drawn their lines are going to stay where they are because they hate the other one so much. And it's a prisoner's dilemma what you have out of this election. It's
one master.
It's trying to pick up the turd by the clean end.
Yeah.
Statism, trying to pick the turd up by the clean end. I love it. Mm-hmm. That's gonna go on that's gonna be a Lou Sander quote.
Yeah. Well, I mean, make an argument for one candidate without mentioning the others.
Yeah. So many people have a problem doing that.
They can't. And there are so many people that are irrationally fearful of what Hillary's going to do, starting wars and all this other crap. And there's so many people that are irrational about what Trump is going to do, starting wars and all that. And quite frankly, it's like coming to a fork in the road, and it just veers off into two different lanes that drive side by side to the same destination. One's a little bit on the left side, the other's a little bit on the right side, but it's essentially the same road. You just got like median in between it, but it goes in the same direction and it winds up in the same place.
It's a shit road in a shitty situation, Lou.
Yeah, because Obama is just currently in George W. Bush's fourth term. He took W's spot and he's Bush on steroids. But quite
they're
frankly,
really all just in Wilson's last seat, you know.
Yeah, it's George Washington's 90-something term.
Yeah, pretty much. All right. Well, with that, I guess we should get wrapping up. I have to get myself off to work. Got to do something to make actual money every once in a while. But Lou, as always,
are you going to walk dogs right now?
Yes, I am. I actually have to go walk one dog, and I have to go check on some other cats, one of whom needs an insulin shot. So.
Damn. Oh, wow.
Yeah, I do visits from 7:30 a.m. till 10:30, 11 p.m. So I could be busy all day long if I have a fully loaded schedule. So 'tis the life.
I guess you could.
There's been times during the holidays where I've been running pretty much nonstop.
You need to get an entire crew set up in place in New York, or in Long Island. So when you move, you could just keep them going and just keep raking the benefits.
I didn't even want to run my business on vacation. I tried that once. It went horribly wrong. After that, I closed down my entire business every time I went on vacation. I never even tried it again because it was so bad. So no, I do not want to run this type of business from afar. This is something that needs a very hands-on approach. And as I was describing earlier, it's one of those things I see hard to be replaced by a robot, at least very easily, because of all the things you need to remember and houses and keys and codes, and like I said, certain stuff can be memorized, but other stuff, if things go wrong, you need contingency plans after contingency plan after contingency plan. So,
yeah.
And you're also dealing with live animals, which can be extremely unpredictable. So anyway, but as I was trying to say, Lou, as always, it's been good having you on, man.
Thank you very much for inviting me on here today. Well, actually, it was Dave that invited me on. Well, no, it wasn't even Dave. Dave kind of put out a generic offer. I'm like, yeah, I might have some time. But anyway, it's always a pleasure being had.
Well, we're glad to have you.
I feel like a voter when I say that.
Yeah, you should.
Well, I always appreciate you coming on, making me laugh, and making Jeremy laugh.
Yes. Good times.
And Danilo, if he was here.
Oh, poor Danilo. One day we'll have him come back on, maybe as a guest. Can ever convince him to figure out how to use Feen phone one day. But. All right. So this has been the Seeds of Liberty podcast. All of our information can be found at theseedsofliberty.com, and we will catch you next time. Peace.
Worms.
Recently reading into the thesis, mirroring the people who completely fail to see it though. Seeing is believing, yes, the reason is appealing most. Reading enemies is just enables you to see it too.
Now that you put it that way, I have the answer to that question. It's projection. That's what it is. It's not a cop-out to call us utopians. They're actually projecting their own self-hatred onto us.
Gun Training with the Non-Aggression Principle, Volume 1. Basic Handgun and Rifle with Jared Waltz.
First rule of being alive is you own yourself.
A groundbreaking approach to firearms and self-defense training. Beautifully filmed and easy-to-understand instructions make this one a must-have. Gun Training with the Non-Aggression Principle, Volume 1. New DVD from Michael W. Dean, available on Amazon.
Your house is your property. Are you sick of government lackeys who say you didn't build that? Are you tired of elitists who think you need a government permission slip for everything? Everything you do is an A to B conversation, and the government should see their way out of it. Create true free markets by adopting the BIPCOT No Government License. The BIPCOT No Gov license allows use or modification of any product, service, or software except by governments or government agents. Go to bipcot.org. That's Bravo, India, Papa, Charlie, Oscar, Tango.org.